Good morning, everyone. RPG Rider here. Hello to all of my subscribers and to the 4 people who watch my vlogs. Actually, yeah, hello to you guys. There are always 4 of you. So anyway, what I want to talk about today is warming up my tires. Is riffs a little more. So last night I had a good friend of mine. I can't remember his online name, so maybe I'll call him by his one of his character names, I guess. William. He GM'd riffs, and I guess I'll tell you a little bit about the start of it. So there's an awesome game I play in. It's a Cortex game. It's Cortex Cyberpunk, run by SSFX17. It's absolutely phenomenal. So for whatever, for certain reasons, he was unable to run last few sessions. So last night, the rest of the players were kicking around the idea of and saying, okay, well, what do we do now? Right? Let's still run. Let's still have fun. Let's do something. Oh wow, a CBR. Oh wow, it's a new one too. HRC. Oh yay! Wow, he looks great. So I think I was the one who suggested, let's try something different. Let's try something Palladium. Let's do Robotech, or let's do Palladium Fantasy or Riffs, right? So this guy William decided to run Riffs. I'm so glad he did. So we started making up characters, and there was a bit of grumbling at the beginning, and I think it all came from me. I think I was the grumbler, wondering if we were even going to be able to play, because Riff's character creation is so involved, and it is, and I'll qualify that. It's involved because you It just is. There are a lot of attributes that you roll. There are a lot of occupational character class, OCCs. That's what they're called in Riffs, your class. There are a lot of abilities, and then skills. Skills are really involved. You have to choose a lot of different skills, and each skill has a bonus based upon your OCC that you get. So you have to check in your OCC area for the bonus that you apply to the base skill score in the skill area. And I'm not even really sure why that takes so long. Well, it's a lot of stuff. There are a lot of reasons as to why that takes so long. One of which is skill. There's a lot of synergy on the go. My friend Josh mentioned that, the synergy with the skills. So if you change one skill, it affects other skill values. And then you can start taking bodybuilding or martial arts, and those things are going to affect your attributes. Right? So a lot of what you do in character creation affects the other stuff you've already done in character creation. So you've got to redo it. Now, the funny thing, because this is a positive, it was a real positive time last night, and I'll explain why. I don't want it to seem negative. So that was the hang-up bit, but then there are a couple of things I noticed. One of which was, I read Kevin Sabita has this neat little thing he mentions in, what book is it? It might be the main book for Riffs, not the Riffs Ultimate Edition, but the original one, which is the 80s whatever, the one with the cool Splubagorth minion on the front. He mentions in that book, I believe, somewhere, he said, initially when I got people to play test Riffs, they were all grumbling, like I did last night, about how long character creation took. But once they started playing, they were so into the game, and they realized that they really felt like they knew their characters. And they really put a lot of care into their characters. And I'll let you know, to be honest with you, that's exactly what I felt last night. I felt like I put a lot of care into the character. You know, it made a difference because we all rolled up together. We all created our characters together, and that was really nice and beneficial. But we all felt like we knew the characters better after we had spent so long. It was such an involved process to make it. You know, you're not just rolling out, okay, okay, got my character, let's go, and get into combat or whatever. In Rifts, there's just a lot more to it. And I'm not sure why that is. I'm not sure if the lengthy character process really does affect that, but it seemed to last night. And I remember it was kind of fun to hang out and make a Rifts character with the rest of the crowd. I had a lot of fun even making my character. Now, I did do the Sky Cycle pilot. Surprise, surprise. Which was cool, and people who made their characters really loved their characters, right? They just loved what they'd made. And then when we actually began, because character creation took about an hour and a half for me, or an hour and 20 minutes, then when we actually started playing, when we did, I realized at that moment how much the Rift's rule set, it's okay for that game. I don't really think it needs to be changed. You know, there's been a lot of complaint about Palladium, but I'm not sure it's all that warranted, you know? Because the system seems fine as it is. It's just different. It's more involved. The character creation is really involved. But it's, you know, that's stated throughout the Rift books. Hey, this is not a game, you know, this is a game that you really have to think about when you play. Now, the other thing I noticed, and this was weird, and I'm not even really sure. Sorry guys, I know I'm going to all the same locations, but I'm pressed for time right now, so I just gotta dart out and do circles and stuff. As I get more time, I'll be able to branch out a bit. I apologize, but I don't have time right now. I wish I did. So if I had 1 billion subscribers, I could do this for a living. Then I'd have loads of time, and then you could watch me all day long, brushing my teeth and stuff. So anyway, I'll get off the bike so you can glorify it. So I'll even sit down for a sec. I'll turn off the bike and sit down. Why not? Let's sit for a sec. So anyway, isn't it beautiful, hey? Sky Cycle, without the sky part. So anyway, we play the game, and we get right into it, and this other guy, and I won't use his real name, I can't for the life of me remember his online name. It was something like, what is his online game? Anyway, he played this character, I believe, Blackfoot character, Native American. And anyway, he you know, he had a lot of imagery happening with this character, a lot of description, a lot of quirks that were just his characters. And the personality came out right away. And I've gamed this with this guy before, and he wasn't the same guy he always is. He was just, boom, new personality. And my Sky Cycle pilot had a big personality. You know, I'd taken off from the Coalition, and I'd gone AWOL, essentially. So the idea was I met some other people that were into reading and writing. I learned a bit about literacy, and I started realizing what the Coalition was. And we found some pre-Rifts books and post-Rifts books, and put it all together and realized that we weren't working for the force of good by eliminating DBs. So my character had been involved in all these genocides, and, you know, needed to redeem himself, you know, or try, right? I'm going to see the camera's even rolling. Yeah. And so he had to redeem himself. So right off the bat, as soon as we started playing without rolling any dice whatsoever, as, you know, aside for the 50 million dice we rolled making characters, at that point, it was so character driven and so role play heavy. And I had to stop and mention that to Josh. And I've mentioned this to other people before. You know, when I went from D&D and into other games and started GMing Rifts and looking for Rifts players on the boards, invariably I got these guys that were heavy role players. And at first I thought, well, okay, what did you play before Rifts? And I got a lot of, Vampire, World of Darkness stuff. And I thought, well, these guys are heavy role play anyway. It's a storyteller game, right? Storyteller system. But last night I was blown away again by the Rifts players who were so into role play. Even when some people were saying stuff that was out of character, the guys who were real Rifts players were responding in character. And even my role-playing was at its height. And I'm wondering what it is about Rifts that is so conducive to role-play. Because every Rifts player I've met has been a real role player. A real role player. And I'm wondering why that is. And I mentioned that to Josh in the call last night and saying, okay, what is this? Is it just Rifts players? Is it the system that lends itself to heavy role play, right? Because I know there's a lot of, depends on your background, individual experience, but why is it every Rifts player I meet, everyone I've gamed with, is a super duper role player, as in gets into character, gets into the mode, acts things out? Like, why is it tend to be so heavy on that side? What is it about the system? And one of the Rifts guys mentioned, this guy, Pt.1 was his nickname in the game. This guy mentioned, well, it's because the character creation process is so involved. You get to know your character, and, that lends itself to role play. And another one jokingly said, well, you spend so much damn time making a character, you don't want to get killed. So, you invested a lot in the character even before the game starts. And guys, I don't really have an answer to what's going on, and maybe this will be another vlog. It's this old school versus new school stuff. I'm finding the old school was really heavy on role play. And the newer school, less so. And I don't know why that is, but it is. And if you can remember back in the day, if you're from the 80s generation or whatever, if you can remember that, you'll remember that it was a lot of role play. It really was. Remember who your characters were. And in the newer system, is there a difference? Is this an old school versus new school thing? Or is this a system-to-system thing? Or is this all just a fluke? Because I don't have any empirical data to work with. I don't have a statistician here, to do it. But there's a difference, guys. There's a difference, And I don't know what it is. I don't know how it is. But Rifts lends itself to super duper role play, and it doesn't make any sense. Is it the system? Is it the people who are attracted to Rifts? Because Rifts is also so fluff driven. Like, you can get lost in Rifts. Like, it's a big setting, guys, with a billion splat books. And obviously I'm exaggerating, but a lot of books, and it's almost all fluff. And the other thing that we could look at too is that Rifts has not had published adventures. It might have had one or two, very, very short. But Rifts, when a new Rifts product comes out, it's not an adventure, it's a setting. They're all a lot of metal on the ground here. But I can swoop around because I'm a swoopy little bird. No, a bird of prey.